Hello, and welcome, one and all. This is Atama's Review Corner, Season 2, Episode 8. This show is made possible thanks to the Xbox 360 and its Avatar Connect Fun Labs app. I am your digital host, Atama Darkening. And today, I shall be doing my top 10 worst NES games. Metal Gear. Wow, this one will probably get me in a lot of trouble from the Metal Gear series fanboys, but please, let me explain myself on this choice. I am a huge Metal Gear fan. I have enjoyed and loved Hideo Kojima for bringing this series into existence. However, as good as the original Metal Gear was, it was not the perfected version that came out on the MSX. In fact, a lot of the story was cut out, changed, or in some cases, even a different ending was given. Instead of fighting Metal Gear and then Big Boss, players found themselves fighting nothing? For the final boss? It was just a computer that the player needed to blow up. Funny enough, this is the main reason the game is on this list too. Back when I first played the game as a kid, I could never figure out how exactly to blow it up. Hideo Kojima even said that this US port release was not his vision. Thank goodness for the original Metal Gear game, now on the PS2. Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence game. And now as well, the HD collection for the 360 and PS3. Super Mario Bros. 2. There are a few reasons why I consider this one bad. The game is a complete rip-off of another game, just pasted with Mario characters over it. Yes, it's true. The US Mario 2 was nothing more than something pieced together from some other game, mainly because they thought that we couldn't handle how hard the sequel was, and the wide success of the first one also helped. The other reason I chose this game was because I had played it after playing both 1 and 3. Being young still, I question why it felt nothing like the other two. Back Xanadu. Finally, a game that isn't mainstream. I thought I had it out against the odd sequels of good games, too. Anyway, there was only one real reason I disliked this game. I had become an RPG fanatic at an early age with Final Fantasy, and wanted to play anything that was like it. So when I came along and saw this box, I thought it was going to be like Final Fantasy. Sadly, it wasn't. And still being very young, I grew distaste for it. Later on, though, I did try to pick it back up, but it just never screamed out to me or felt like it was worth playing. I'm not sure why. I guess it just didn't have the feel that I wanted it to. Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. Now, I won't say that I still didn't like this game. I just felt it was once again out of place like Mario 2, but instead in the series of Castlevania. I mean, it hadn't quite hit the standard of RPG element game that it would eventually hit with Castlevania Symphony of the Night, but there was still a few things wrong with it. One major thing that a lot of players out there who had played this back when it was hard to find solutions for getting stuck will remember the dead end where you needed to have a certain item equipped and being ducked for a long enough time for a tornado to come pick the player up. Thanks a lot, game, for explaining that one to us gamers. Oh, and let's not forget the death-looking Dracula. Seriously? What is wrong with you, Dracula? And maybe I wouldn't have thought it was death, or a variation-looking death, if he would have just had a better move than throwing scythes like death. I mean, come on. Why? Where's Waldo? Well, I guess you get what you pay for in this one. It's just trying to find Waldo. I guess I shouldn't have expected anything more than that either. Unfortunately, they made it just too darn difficult to move around and search for him, along with a time limit that would usually run out before the player could finish the game. The timer is what really makes this one frustrating. Back to the Future. Well, there is way too many things wrong with this game, from the fact of the music, which just overlaps itself with the first 3 notes of The Power of Love, all the way to the gameplay being very Back to the Future-like. And for me, I have never gotten past the first minigame after the first level, so another good reason why I hate this game. Though, when I started, I expected this game was going to be number 1 on the top 10 list, but as I went on looking through the top 10 and what I thought was bad and what wasn't, I actually realized there was far much more worse games that I have touched and that were less entertaining. Ghostbusters. And here it is, the game I talked about on the top 10 list for the best NES, and how it was so much worse compared to 2. Yes, it is true, though, that it was not that good of a game, and the gameplay was really stupid, along with what seemed to be an infinite staircase that could never hardly be scaled. But hey, compared to these next 3 games, this one was still a little bit enjoyable, running around collecting the ghosts before the stupid Staircase of Doom. Dragon's Lair. Oh goodness, how I loved this game in the arcade. I remember playing it back when it was this. Instead, what did I get when I got home and put it into the NES and turned it on? This? I'm sorry. This is not what I expected as a child, and frankly, I couldn't even enjoy it because of the game mechanics. I think I could barely even get past the first enemy of the game at the gate. Not to mention, this played nothing like the Dragon Slayer I knew, other than the one-hit instant death, but, I mean, come on. When you're in the middle of a animated cutscene, what else is going to happen? It was more like a horrible hack and slash. So, what could be worse than this? Well, to be fair, the last 2 games on the list were only bad to me because as a kid I enjoyed either movie or comics very much, and was very disappointed with the game that followed, even more so than Ghostbusters even. Dick Tracy. There were always just way too many enemies, not enough health, and regeneration for health, forget about it. And even if you did complete one area of the game, collecting the clue that you needed to move on to the next area, and then died, they had you start all the way back at square one until the completion of the case. So it became almost impossible to enjoy the first mission, with having to continually repeating the same stupid steps over and over again. Spider-Man, Return of the Sinister Six. This game! How much I hated it! I was a big Spider-Man fan, and okay, fine. I could manage to get to the boss just barely, which was Electro, by the way. But then he was too powerful. That day, I found out just how badly Spider-Man really does work when he's being controlled. And this game, It sucked the life out of me every time I would touch it. I mean, I couldn't even get past the first boss and complete the game. Even in the more crappier Spider-Man titles, I eventually made it to the end. Great. Now I have an urge to choke a spider. I better go. So, until next time, come back to Adam's Review Corner, Season 2, Episode 9, for the review of Mass Effect 2. And remember, keep gaming and reaching for those achievements in games and life.